Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Laststandgamers, and welcome. So we are back on our first LSG server tour for the Underworld season. It's the beginning of the second week, so players have had about a week and maybe an extra day or so to build their creation. So we're not expecting to see massive things, but it's going to be the start of their survival experience. So we'll turn our lights on here so we can see what's going on. We're starting over at the Agm Base. Now the Agm Base, interestingly enough, has become a mobile base at some point and decided to just float off. So over at AGN it looks like they're attempting to print a large ship out over here. They have not continued it on so far, but it's slowly being pulled out there of the ground. We've got some towers with these cool little fighters on them, these little Novas. Very cool indeed. So I'm not sure if this is the AGM base, but I'm just going off one of the ships that I used to, teleport over here. So we can actually have a look. So they've got Nova written on the side. So it could be, I guess, the Nova faction as well. Let's have a quick read of this LCD. Uranium, we need uranium or we are... Oh, that's a bit rude. So they need uranium, basically, these guys. They're a bit short. There's a few cool little ships over here and one in the bright yellow colour. And that is pretty much the AGN faction so far. I do like these little towers. And we're also using Apathy's Advanced Power mod. And that is really quite cool. So let's continue on. So from AGN we are flying over to HGI. Now HGI are once again in this early sort of starting phase, so we'll let the Underworld load in around them because they aren't just floating here. There we go. So they've got this massive cavern that they've decided to build in. The Underworld is a scary and quite unforgiving place at some times. So they're down here in the depth and the darkness. And when you're flying over some of these sort of chasms, if there is no bubble up around it and no lighting down there, it just disappears into darkness. So what have they actually been working on here? So they've got these like little supports going up into the ceiling area. Down here we've got a 3D printer of some sort of design. In the little pit we've got like a strange tentacle or some sort of growth. Is it a Christmas tree or... Oh, what's this? Let's have a look. Project Infectio, Tiberium has been introduced to the Underworld. Oh, so they're doing their own little mini storyline down here, I'm guessing. They've got themselves some connectors for ships, and they've got themselves these strange Tiberium type crystal holders. That's what I'm guessing they are down here. So it's cool when players go off on their own little themes. You might recognise that logo. It looks very familiar to something, doesn't it? Maybe you can point it out in the comment section below. So that's the HGI base. Now we're going over to ACW. Let me just double check that. ACW. So past the Nova Grids, ACW. There we go. So Rogue Commander, what have you been up to? Well, the thing that got my attention about this sort of grid is this creation. Over here, look at this. This is definitely some sort of creature of the Underworld. Well, we are using some body weapons this. I did forget to mention that. We're using the weapons core. We've got our weapons core PDCs and some launchers as well. We're trying to keep it quite light on the weapons because a lot of the weapons core weapons just have silly range that really doesn't work too well in Space Engineers. A lot of people get bombarded from out of sight and can't even see where the shells are coming from. So this is the start of the ACW base down here, complete with what looks to be some memes. Coming soon. Out now. A little bit of advertising maybe for some of their creations. Let's continue on. So we are heading to DTM. DTM. Where are you in the list? Here we go. So one of the things about the Underworld that is quite special as well is I can't simply just turn the sun to light up some of these creations because of course we're wrapped in planets within the Underworld itself. So this looks like a giant whale type ship, a rusty whale if that. It's got some drills at the front, and a lot of players have actually decided to go with mobile bases this time. That's another new twist to this season of Underworld. Last time it was very heavy PvP focused. The time before that it was much more of a, I'd say, group. Everyone got together to battle the objectives and take on the quests that are available in the Underworld. But you can see this rusty whale is acting as someone's mobile base. Let's have a dip inside, see if they've got any ships going on in here. Yep, they've got themselves some fighters. Is that a miner or some sort? Yeah, it's a miner there in there as well. Very, very cool indeed. Nice to see this hidden in one of the dark caverns. You can see how dark it is in here. Sometimes you can come right up on a player and he'll come out of nowhere. So with lights off, he's just tucked and hidden in there, and he's decided not to activate his safe zone to remain even more hidden. Very cool indeed. Let's continue to FPS. We've seen FPS before on many of our other seasons, but what are they up to this time? The Underworld Lab. What's Morton doing? Chaos Theory, Commander. Let's have a quick look. Activating our light does absolutely nothing because this is a real dark cavern within the cave. So it looks like they've got a submarine that's damaged from some previous action. I believe that was attended one of the events this week. So you can see it's a bit battered up, needs a bit of repair work doing to it. Underneath they've got the drill ship. Coming around this side, we've got this cool looking red ship. Lots of different styles at this base. Over on this side we've got this black and white one. Quite a stylish design with the missile pods up in the front. What's this under here? Are these more missiles or are these... Oh no, there's spotlights hidden behind windows for illumination through the underworld. Another key component. Tucked down here, it looks like we've got a little welding ship. And then we've got a connection sort of pad that looks like it's being built up in layers. So their base is probably still very much so under construction. But they found a nice little bit of the underworld here in one of the dark, deep caverns. Very cool to explore. Let's continue on. So, from FPS, we have got ISS. So, let's have a look at ISS. What are they up to? So, there we go. There's an ISS grid. And who's behind this one? Okay. So what are they working on? I can see a dome, I can see some other structures. This is before the underworld is actually loaded in around it. So you have to bear with it for a section. Multiple planets loading in close proximity. So this is what you can see from above in their cavern. They've got it like tucked down below. They've got this cool little dome and they've like sealed up the top of the cavern area with the dome on top. Is the ship oh, it might be a ship that's slowly emerging from a 3D printer, that dome. Very cool indeed. Underneath they've got themselves some welding basic ships, some pop-out PDCs down here, and this really cool creation that we've seen show up to an event. This actually managed to win one of the previous events. It carried off one of the cargo containers with these hidden weapon supplies. It's like a little stingray. It's very, very cool indeed. Look at the power cells on that. That's a cool little layout there. Not very well protected, but probably doesn't really need to be for a utility welding ship. What else have they got in the depths of this little hangar area? So they've got a lower cavern with some fighters that are stackable. That's an interesting idea. I've not seen that before. Or maybe I have, but that's a nice little stackable fighter design. Then they've got their production even deeper down in this cavern. It's a right labyrinth down here. You can see production is at full works, which is up, which is down in this cave. Right, let's continue on. So we're actually heading over to Lex now. So here we go. We've got Littlefoot. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. And we are over at their grids. So they have been busy working on a little starter outpost, but what I thought was really cool about this one is how it spans this gap above the cavern. It's like a bridge between the cavern below, and they've got like little work areas and little spots along this bridge that the players can, you know, work from, walk between. I just thought this was a really nice idea. It is still quite a small base, as you can see. They've got a slightly larger ship with some mouldy green bits and bits of rust, the contaminants from the underworld. Heavy work on these little life pods on the end here. I like these little rooms where you can look out to see what your fellow crew members are doing or what's being worked on. And all the production and machines has been integrated into this structure that I really like. Really cool design there. So let's continue on. So we are actually going to LGG. Now LGG is Loot Goblin, but there is also a number of other grids around Loot Goblin's creation here as well. So we'll have to have a look at them. So as we load this in, there's a few grids loading in here. We've got another dome sort of design taking shape here. If we zoom out, you see it's another real dark area of the cave network. There we go, it's starting to load a little bit better. We've got a ship that looks like it's from the Star Wars universe. Correct me if I'm wrong. With this one right there, very cool. We've definitely got some Star Wars style ships. We've got a LAT there, very nice indeed. That's a cool little LAT design, especially in black. And then over here we've got a few utility ships, as well as some more fighter type designs for the underworld. Look at this little hangar area though. This is really nice. Some really nice small grids in this area, as well as these little maintenance stands so you can work on them as you go. We've got some larger ships tucked up here. We've got the drill ship of theirs, as well as a little sort of medium-sized ship, a giant drill ship, maybe a cargo or even a mobile base, possibly there. And we've also got this one that's still damaged after an event. We saw this show up. It got shot up. I think it might have even been an RAB ship, this. Yeah, whatever's been happened here, they've towed and salvaged this one home. And on top of here, they've got themselves a little RAB. Yeah, so it must be a combination of RAB grids and loot goblins showed up over here as well. That's what I'm guessing is going on here. So continuing down here, we've got these cool little tower designs. I like how they've got all the girder sort of reinforcement going to them. And then inside here, it must be a production hub. Oh, and they've got a things needed list. Look at them, very organised. Cool little production hub in the inside there. So let's continue on. So from LGG, we're going to go to Nut. Let's have a look. Where is Nut located? That's a funny one. Here we go. So Burnt Flash, or Flashzer, however you pronounce it. This is a really unique one, quite an interesting one. And when I first came across this, I was a bit like, what's this doing in the Underworld? So on top, we have a miner of sorts, all up in this rusty camouflage. And below, we have some sort of interesting looking flying bird, fully equipped with some PDCs either side. I'm not sure if this is a mobile base grid, or it's more of a statue. It's a double layered of armor, so this could be even a mobile base grid. Another really interesting, just different sort of design build. It's not got a rotating neck or anything, but it is unusual to say the least. So cool. I want to see this one in action. I want to see this one battling. So I've actually got RAB written down here on my list to check out next, even though I believe we've already been over to their outpost. I just want to double check that we were actually at RAB's base. Yes, we were. So Loot Goblin has definitely visited the RAB outpost. You can just see the grids that we've already had a look at here in the distance there. Cool little base RAB. Let's continue on to STF. So scrolling down our lovely list of all these amazing creations, we've got the STF base. So let's have a look what the players have been busy doing at this one. So this one is quite a unique one. It's got like individual little buildings. It's got a grinder pit. You can see how things are loading in. It's got that skull sort of hangar up there. I'm not really sure how many players are working on this one, but you've got these little hangars. You've got a little bit of after this machine. You've got a rotating oxygen generator. I'm not too sure on the purpose of that, because I'm guessing it won't be generating too much oxygen down here because it needs solar, and maybe at a certain time of the day there's a little bit of solar. We've got the electrolyzer. What's going on in the electrolyzer? Oh, that's a cool way of laying out the tanks. I like that. Very cool indeed. And then coming over here, we've got some more tanks. What's tucked up in here? So we've got production and some engines in them tanks. We've got a 3D printer on a rotor. And we've got a grinding pit. So this is pretty much a really nice little set out salvage base. Got a little hinge there. Is that a spotlight on a hinge to add dramatic effect? I think it might be. I think that area might light something up here. And then you've got this flaming skull hangar with both a miner and a little gunship tucked in there for good measure. Very cool indeed. What's down on this lower floor? Oh, so there's a kitchen with your full utilities and a sleeping area hidden in this lower area. Very cool. Very nice little base. Well, there's also some buttons here to control the 3D printer. I won't touch anything because I have a history of hitting buttons and things go very wrong. So, STF. Now we are going to be heading over to TD, right below. So Exorth. Is anyone else in the TD faction that's showing up? Not currently. So as we head over to Exorth's sort of outpost under the name TD, they've gone with another sort of like bridge design that I think is quite cool. It's a little bit hard to see what direction that they're going with here, but you can see they've got another drill ship. They've got themselves some smaller, little nimbler fighters. I've seen this in action as well. This is quite cool. So all the weapons pods, I believe, are tucked within these little arm segments and behind them, so it has a lot of firepower going down range at once. And then at the back there, you see it's got its large atmospheric thrust pack. A bit of a Tron vibe going on with this one. So a little bit of a hangar door on the side. And then into the main hangar with a few more. We've got a utility ship. And I think we've got two more of these fighter type ships that are taking shape. Really cool. It's a nice base to look at in the dark. The only issue with this armor is it really does show up in the darkness underground here. Still very cool. Let's continue on. So we're going to XIE next. So as we scroll through our list, we're going to keep an eye on. There we go. XIE. Now, of course, we can't look at all the bases in these tours because there's so many little factions or smaller groups or even larger groups who haven't really built too much. For the ones that haven't built too much, I'll probably reserve touring them to a later date in this server tour. So what I thought was really cool about this one, this XIE base, is like all the grids have these like external rib cages built around them. That's quite unique, something you don't usually see. And the base itself is a giant rib cage. I'm not sure if this is a mobile grid. I think it is by the look at these thrusters below here, but I'm not sure if it's been docked permanently or it's just waiting, you know, to grab some mining and go out on another mission. But yeah, all the little ships, even the welder ship there, containing the little ribcage design that I really like. So let's continue on. So we're going to CIU next. So past all the factions we've checked, and CIU, let's go to their base location, Stf Base. So I do need to have a look at Stf Base because I'm not sure if some of the things are over the limits. I'm just saying I'm not sure yet. I need to do the actual math and count the grids on the base compared to grids that are attached. So we have a giant spider on top of this mound that I thought was really damn cool. And all of these unconstructed grids are supposed to represent like the spider's web. But we might run into an issue here where there's too many unconstructed grids. And we've got a little bit of a spider watching telly. By the look of it, and then it's got web coming down the side. Now this is definitely a pretty build because these little spider ships have been placed out all over the place with the little Gatling guns. Probably still quite functional, but they do look good as they're moving along the webs. Someone, if you've got a spider phobia, this base is definitely not for you. So you can see these little egg sacs there and whatnot. Over here we've got a ship that looks like it's being consumed by the spiders. This is a very like artistic piece, this, isn't it? I'm really liking this. This is really fun. I wonder where they found this ship from, unless they built it. Maybe they found it in an event, brought it back, and this is the sort of process they go about of nibbling it away. The rest of the spiders look like they are building something over here. This is a real like, nice art piece. I'm really liking this. What's this? Is this a little ship that's been hung up by the spiders as they've been going? We've also got some other utility ships tucked down here that are not quite in the spider design. This is cool. Look at that. It's a cool little ship that's docked up in there. Really fun area. Not, if you don't like spiders, I would not go to this base. Look at this tower as well. So the tower looks like it's been webbed up from inside out. What's going on in the top here? Oh, we've got a load of engineers. This is almost like a set piece. This could be used in a scenario. It's so damn cool. Let's have a quick look from above. Yeah, you can see them all moving around. Well, they're not moving around. You have to use a bit of imagination. But yeah, I'm really liking that. And it looks like another giant spider is in existence there. What's this? Oh, so they've got a little drop-off pit here. What's this say? Stay tuned for more. Ooh. I just hope that all of this building is going to stay within the grid limits of the actual server itself. Right, let's continue on. So, away from CIU, we have got the H2k base to visit. So H2k on my list, CIU, all the spiders that we've got going on there. And then we have the H2k. So we've got Shook behind the H2k base. Now Shook was telling me the other day as I went to visit him that he's working on trying to build a mobile grid for this season. He hasn't done one before, or he hasn't done one for a while at least. So this is what he's come up with. You see, they've got the 3D printer mounted. I don't know if it's at the back of it. Plenty of turrets. The thrusters mounted on the front there for quick slowing down in case he enters an area or a dead zone with no gravity. A little drill ship tucked on the side. And I'm guessing inside is going to be pretty much all business. Yeah, it looks like it. Cargo, production, and a little bit of a cockpit loaded up on the top there, complete with a med bay right next door to it. Very functional ship, but it's very cool to see some players continuing to explore the mobile base route. So, next up we have NBS. So past all the previous factions and over to the NBS home. Home of Nightser and fellow crew. Let's have a look what they've been working on. Oh. Is this it? Is this all that's here? No, it can't be. There's got to be something over here. Ah, here we go. Sorry, I was a little bit confused by that. So it looks like they are working once again from a mobile base that I'm quite impressed by. So they've got a ship taking construction there. They've got their main mobile base ship, and they've also got this cool little fighter type craft that are coming out the side. I'll have to have a rotate and have a look at this the other way around. Yeah, so it looks like it's taking a little bit of damage, but it's got like little cell pods on the side. It's got the missiles and Gatling guns up at the front with a little eye. Really unusual colour scheme, this. You'll have to let me know in the comment section if you recognise this colour scheme, what Knights are going for here, what theme. So finally, last but not least, once again, we have Shay's Creations. Now, Shay's base actually takes the shape of an organic form, as usual. So we've got what's going on here. It looks to be a giant mushroom of some kind. So as I'm moving around here, you can see the giant mushroom. We'll have a look at the other creations in a moment. You can see just the organic colour usage, the levels to it. And look at this fish though. Isn't this cool? That's like one of them classic, you know, deep sea glowing fishes that have them little, they have that little thing that glows at the front, I believe, and it attracts other fish to them, and then they appear behind it and maybe even bury themselves in the sand. Obviously, I'm not someone who knows loads about the ocean, but still really nice, cool. I love how they made the little flaps there as well. Wow, they're clear. And if we turn off our lights, you can see that everything glows within the darkness. And up here in this fiery cave, there is a birthday cake. Now, I believe the story behind this little birthday cake, that is actually a small ship, is it was Shay's birthday and Shuck came to drop it off. So that's a cool little thing, a cool way of delivering a present to someone on the server. Very, very nice base to finish on. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, checking out these designs. Let me know which your favourite craft, base or creation was within this server tour, and there is a lot more to come as the season expands and the players build a lot more. So I'll see you next time.